All right, the video for Thursday, March 9th. The SPY still kind of just bleeding lower, kind of getting down into that what we call the buy zone between the 8 and the 20. Still strong in my opinion, but grinding lower every day, for the last 5 days or so. So the watch list. HEAR came a long way from 1 to 154 this day, and then today kind of a quiet inside day. Here it is on 15s. It ended up closing pretty strong, so this gets back up in this area. It might just continue higher. I don't really like buying stuff far away from the moving averages like the 8 and the 20, but I'm going to put it on watch anyway. MNST, nice bounce. A lot of times when you get a gap up, you end up getting into a range, and that's what's happened here. I mean, it's between like 49 and 46.30 area, somewhere. You just end up in a range, and a nice bounce off the bottom of the range. It may be heading up back to the highs of the range. I don't really have any kind of, hey, here's a great price to get long, but I like the way this thing closed strong today on big volume in a fairly weak market. So I'm going to look for that to head back up to the top of the range. We'll see if it gives us a low risk setup. Believe it or not, dry ships, you can't tell anything by this chart, but when we zoom in, still can't tell anything. Let's go to 15s. All right, very, very strong rally for the last 45 minutes of the day, closing at $1.60, and after hours trading at $1.57, so holding up pretty well in after hours. And if you look at, I don't know, I'm going out maybe 10 days here, very, very strong volume. Look at these volume, the histogram bars versus, most trading in the last 10 days or so. Very strong close. So I want to watch that one for a continuation of today's bounce. DCIX, just another shipper I threw on watch in case dry ships does rip. Let's try that again. Let's get that big pop out of there so you can kind of see. It's trading, right around probably a week and a half, 2-week high. Today's high was 264. So if dry ships takes off, I kind of like DCIX as well. Maybe over 264. VBLT, nice little volume spike in this one today. And let me pan out a little bit. All right, so you had a big high back here, a big spike back here. Massive volume, almost 30 million shares. That took it to 758. And that was all the way back in June. And then you had a lower high. Then you gapped up above that, but ended up selling off. And then you're kind of flagging below this high. And if you look to the left, there's not a lot in the way. Today we broke this flag, closing at $6. You look to the left, over 620 is certainly a catalyst. If it gets up to here, you look to the left, there's just nothing in the way for this to have a big pop. And I like the extra volume today. So watching this for a potential long tomorrow. VBLT, RNVA, pretty nice setup here. You had a big run from $1.60 over the course of like 2.5 sessions to $3.60. That's a huge move. Couple days lower, narrow range today, and you go to the intraday, and today, it opened here, or actually put in an early high in the opening 5 minutes here, then a lower high and a flag. So I love this over 235 tomorrow. We'll have to see how the overall market does, but this one, after this huge move, few days lower on declining volume, this is a pretty good setup over 235. RNBA, I'm going to put a 236 number in my notes. All right, VRAY, nice pop here, secondary pop here, few days lower. No trades in it today. It was on watch today, but no trades in it because it popped right out of the gate, reversed. Kind of like it over 560. Putting 562 in my notes. MYOS, let's go to the daily. Huge pop here, lower high here, lower high, and then today. I mean, it's found nice support in this area. I like the extra volume today. I don't like the fact that it closed so far off its highs. The high of the day was 386, and it ended up closing at 335. But worth having on a chart. I mean, one of these days it gets up over 4. He looks to the left. There's not a lot in the way. Maybe we can get a better setup and a lower entry and have it, get in early before the push to 4. And keep in mind, may never get there, right? So for me, it's just on a chart. NOVN looked like it was gapping and breaking up into this gap a couple sessions ago. Sold off, kind of filled the gap and then some, but now kind of holding up. Here it is on 15s. So you had a high, a few sessions ago of 819, and then today's high 715. You know, you can kind of picture a trend line here. If this gets up over 720, it's kind of interesting to me for a pop based on the daily chart. Right? It might head back up to this 8 high or whatever that was, 819, and then if it can get up into the gap, you know, there's no telling where it could go. It's a low float stock, so I definitely have it on watch. ROX goes back on watch. I still like this over 102. It's had like a 4-day high now at 102 after a huge gap up on their products being placed nationwide in Walmart. So, like I said, I don't expect this to completely come down here and fill the gap. Seems to have found support in the between 90 cents and $1. So the next logical move over 102 might just be up. So let's watch that one. PRKR had it on watch today, but you know, it gapped up too much. Sold off all day. Almost a gap fill. Certainly worth watching going into tomorrow. No trades in it today. MOSY, big spike, big spike, big spike. Quiet inside day. If this can turn back up tomorrow, remember, if you've heard any of my videos, I don't like round trips. So this, you know, is kind of close to a round trip from the big pop all the way back down near recent lows. But if it can turn up tomorrow, could be worth a shot. Lastly, I've put on the watch list MEET. Had the gap up and then a lower high today, but actually a little bit of a bottoming tail. We'll see if this can get going tomorrow. We'll also add some gappers in the pre-market, and I'll leave it at that. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll talk to you tomorrow.